Let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ben Jewell, University of Nebraska Extension educator, and this is the Nebraska Extension Regional Food System Initiative monthly food system speaker series. I'm really excited to have you all with us today. Thank you for joining. This will be our last speaker series of this particular kind of season. We'll start up again in the fall with another set of speakers. If you have thoughts, suggestions about folks who would be good to include in this next round of speakers, please let me know. Put it in the chat, shoot me an email, or if you yourself are interested in speaking to the group, love to know that as well. So please let me know. I'm going to here turn it over in just a second to our guest speaker. But first, if you would, in the chat box, just tell us who you are, where you're at, and maybe the organization or farm that you work for that you're representing today. Would love to kind of just get a sense of who all is in the room with us today. And while you do that, I'm going to introduce our guest speaker today. I'm really excited to welcome Carla Gornall with us, who's here to talk about the pretty new, recently opened Take Root Farm Stop in Omaha. I think it's a really kind of unique model that's kind of new to the state of Nebraska. I believe, Carla, you guys are maybe the first to do a farm stop here in Nebraska that we know of. Does that sound right?
Yes, but someone from Ord just contacted us maybe 2 weeks ago, and they're looking at opening one. And actually, Argus, the people that have
Oh, yeah.
trained us, said that there's one they believe in Norfolk.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so not all the farm stops are open 7 days a week. A lot are open just for the weekends because 80% of them are actually in rural towns,
Hmm.
which is interesting.
Okay. That is very interesting. Well, great. So it's kind of a unique model of local food distribution, retail outlets. So I'm really excited to learn more. Carla, I'm going to turn it over to you, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for everyone for joining. Excited to be here. We just opened on December 6th. We've been actually thinking about doing this for 3 years. Um, we heard about Argus Farm Stops. This is not a new model by any means. It was about 3 years ago because we've just came back from our third annual conference on how to start a farm stop. And they actually have an online training program if anyone else is interested, um, in which it's 9 hours of so much information that they were giving us, like the first 8 years of, just the basic financials. They gave us all of their startup cost. They gave us just everything we could possibly use or need to start a farm stop. They're super helpful. We went out and did some one-on-one training right before we opened, which was helpful. So a lot of this presentation is directly from them. And we decided we weren't going to reinvent the wheel. Everything they had done, they'd done for, um, 11 years. So it's a proven model. And we thought, we're just going to use their point of sale system, their method of payout system, just so we knew we had guidance from them. Um, I guess a little bit of background from myself. When my daughter, I was a stay-at-home mom for 25 years, and when my daughter was in high school, she said, "Mom, what are you going to do when I when I leave?" Because I volunteered for everything. And I said, "Well, I guess I've always liked to farm or garden, I should say. My mom grew up on a farm, and so I went to Metro, and I ended up falling in love with the science and the growing aspect of, larger scale. So I thought, oh, maybe, I could start farming. I actually interned with Terry Troxel at Iowa Farm. And after about 9 months, I went back and told all of the people at Metro, I'm like, I can't grow food, so I need to sell it. And I was in sales, 20, 30 years ago. So I had this on my heart for a very long time and what we can do um, to make this work because I started at No More Empty Pots right after I got my small market farming. I'd known Nancy and she asked me to do the CSA it was February of 2020. So No More Empty Pots played this huge part in buying from farms, when there was no markets, there's no farmers markets, restaurants were closed, so they had no place to sell their food. So we grew the CSA to about 550 CSAs per week, and we we're aggregating from about 50 different farms. A couple of producers in there as well, but mostly farms. And then we were also doing between 2,200 and 2,300 plant-based meals every week. Um, So I was in charge of procuring all of that, the local food. And I saw so many great farms close, not necessarily because of COVID and, the last 5 years, but I think everyone knows it's just a hard time to farm. So Argus, came up with this model and they've tweaked it. And we're just trying to just really strengthen the local food system. And so far, I think we're making a difference. We just came out with numbers yesterday. The farmers just on consignments, farmers, ranchers, and producers. We've given back on consignment $138,000. And we also have some wholesale accounts, Burbox Dairy, they won't do consignment, but so we do some wholesaling. But for our farmers, we want them to make more money. So that's why we're doing consignment. And then this is just kind of why we're doing what we're doing. We're trying to see how farm stops strengthen the community economies. We're mission driven in Michigan. They actually have a different type of LLC. It's called an LL3C, I believe, LL3 maybe. But it's a mission based, so people can actually donate money and have a tax write-off. I think there's only about 10 states that do that. But we know there's other farm stops out open. We're the 26th, and I think about half of them are LLC. So, we're just that was our option. But we looked at being a farm co-op. We looked at being a nonprofit, and we knew with just three of us, it's Grandview Farm, Gordon Miller, and Matt Johnson from Long Walk, and we wanted to be able to make decisions quickly. And so that's what we just decided that, with the three of us, we have completely different backgrounds and completely different strengths, and it's just so far it's been working really well. Why local foods matter. I think everyone in this meeting probably realizes why local food matters. This is, of course, includes the processing, the distribution, restaurants, and makers and artisans. We'd sell a lot of bread. We're starting to sell more grab and go. We're still looking for a lot of produce, and we're looking for a couple more ranchers as well as some grab and go, some producers that will make ready to go food, which Metro might be able to step up. We're meeting with them next week for grab and go because that's our customers are asking for that. And we actually had Eric's Enchiladas come in over the weekend. I think they came in on Wednesday, and already they sold $1,500 worth of their products in less than a week. So we know that's a good avenue for, to create more entrepreneurs as well. All right, the average age of farmer is now almost 59. The numbers just came out. And just in Douglas, Sarpy, and Washington counties, we've lost about 57% of farmland in the last 50 years. Once lost, those farms are extremely different to recover. Typically they're bought up by larger farmers, as we all know, and it's hard. It's hard to get started. So we would like to be that connector to help people get started. We do have, I think, about 5 or 6 urban farmers right now, and just excited to help them grow as well. On average, farmers receive only 15 cents for every dollar spent on food, which is crazy. When I heard that fact, I was shocked. The remaining goes to middlemen. Average middlemen in the food system is 14. So with a farm stop, you're looking at just us being the middleman. Sometimes we do use a couple of food hubs to purchase, especially out of Iowa. So the max there's 2 middlemen in this model. And we're trying to get farmers to increase their income, not only in what they're growing now, but we would like to see them extend their seasons. I know a lot of farmers that don't grow into the fall because farmers markets are closed. So we're looking for people to grow more winter squash. We ran out in, I think, March. People are still looking for winter squash, and I know there's some still good. I still have some on my counter that I saved. So, and in greenhouses, we know we had about 4 or 5 greenhouses that were growing greens over the winter, and people, we couldn't keep them on the shelves. It was hard for us as a business. Like we were just, we tried not to buy greens ourselves because we wanted our customers to have them. Bridgewater would bring in, I don't know, maybe 60 bags and they'd be gone in 2 days. So people want fresh food. They want local. They want, they're really into what they're putting into their bodies now. And I think now's the time that this is just, it's working. I guess I kind of went over this. I think what the industrial food travels 1,500 miles to your plate on average. And people don't realize I just had a customer come in and say, "Hey, I was at Costco yesterday. Their tomatoes came in and they were 13 days old when they put them on the shelf. It had a picked on date." And with most of our farms are delivering once a week at this point, and we're trying to get them, which I know we'll have to because of cooler space, to deliver sometimes twice, even 3 times a week if they've got some hot items. But then, it's your food has been picked that day sometimes, the day before. And people are just really loving that. Okay, so the farmers markets, of course, the farmers keep all of the profits except, their booth rental. It's fresh and seasonal, builds trust and community. People love going to the farmers markets. I still go. I've got my granddaughter I watch on Sundays, so I go take her, and it's fun. Like every year, I was helping Gordon at Grandview Farm after I left No More Empty Pots. I did his social media, and I helped every Sunday at the farmers market, and every week it was a noticeable difference in the cash he was bringing in over the 2 years I helped him. Grocery stores, of course, are convenient. It's one-stop shopping, familiar to consumers. Farm Stops is the best of both worlds. It's a fair margin for farmers. It's convenient for people. What we want to be, we're not going to be that grocery store, but people do come in with their grocery list. They shop at Take Root first, and then they go to Hy-Vee for their foils and the things that they can't find at the Farm Stop. And that's just what we want to be. That's what Argus wanted to be, because there's no way we could ever be, and we don't want to be that grocery store, that a big box store. It is a trust-based system. Thankfully, Gordon had been farming for 40 years, so people trusted him. And we had farms sign up prior to opening in November or opening in December. We had a lot of farmers sign up in November, knowing Gordon knew what he was doing. And we know they have to put so much trust in us that we know how to handle their produce. We know, what to miss, what not to miss. We know, what some of the different, we had parsnips and turnips, and people, they're not used to selling that. And we want to bring some of those foods back, some of that storage stuff for next winter. We do have a great checkout system. We're going to be offering SNAP, I'm hoping very soon. We just sent in our last of the paperwork, we think. And it encourages innovation and job growth. Just our general rule is if we can't find it in Nebraska or Iowa, 90% of our items are from Nebraska and Iowa, but if we have so many requests, which we did for like nut butters, it's a place in Missouri, southern Missouri, that has to ship. And it's phenomenal. It's just 2 ingredients. They use a different type of peanut than what Jif and Skippy uses. It's phenomenal. But it would just take someone here in one of our states to be like, oh, we can do this too. And that's where it can increase job growth with small entrepreneurs. And obviously it's fresher food, smaller carbon footprint. Consignment model. This is, it's shocking how many people, like I said, trust us enough to maintain the transparency. Our system actually, it's a phenomenal. In fact, all of our consigners, we've had so many of them say, it's so nice. They actually get a producer portal access once we start they sign up with our ACH. We give them a producer portal so they can see how much food they have, and then they can see when to restock. Very few people we have to call and say, "Hey, have you checked your numbers? We really could use, um, a restock." We've got over 100 consigners right now, and it takes a lot of the pressure off of us as far as ordering because they know what's selling, and they at any point in time they can call and say, "Hey, can you mark our stuff down? We've got a plethora of this. Can we mark it on sale, buy one, get one, or whatever?" The pricing is up to the farmer. Everyone sets their own prices, knowing that they will receive 70% of those price. Um, okay, so of course, 30% for the farm stop, that doesn't pay the operating cost. So Argus actually, how they started at 80/20. 3 years later, they're like, this is not paying the bills. Then they went to 75/25 with coffee, realized they went back to the farmers. The farmers are like, yes, we will still take 70%. And the working model, as long as you're selling coffee, which is a higher profit margin, um, farm stops are working using the 70/30. And also, like, coffee is also community. We actually would love to have the Argus Farm Stop, and a lot of them have like a small cafe. We looked at just putting a bar um, across our front windows for people to have coffee, and then some chairs, with the computers. And the Douglas County Health Department said if you put even one chair in here or a bar, standing bar, you need to have a third bathroom, which we just don't have room. We have 2,500 square feet, and apparently like 2,400 is where you need a third bathroom. So eventually, we would like to see if we can get them to allow us to do that, because we do have a room in the back. We have a certified kitchen, and we want to use that for community space. People have already started using it for meetings, for education, and it's just a wonderful space. There's a meeting that I go to once a month, and we started having it at the farm stop because there's no music. We can still have food. We can buy food and have a light appetizers, but it's quiet. In a restaurant, it's hard to be quiet. So we want it to be a community space of education, learning, and just getting together with your friends. And I guess that's another thing about community at the farm stop. We know all of our producers by names, all of the drop-off people. And at the register at any time, like we have the best staff. I can't say enough about our staff. They engage with the customers. They tell them what their favorites are. They tell them how to cook different things. It's very important for a store like this for it to be an experience versus just a shopping. People are just on their phones at the grocery cart. No one is on their phone at our place. They're engaging, they're looking. We have so much new stuff at any time. People just enjoy seeing, looking for the new stuff. Um, we did build it for impact and we designed it for growth, although we're already in need of a new walk-in. We didn't get that big enough. But we're renting space at No More Empty Pots. It's 7 months away. So we'll start renting space next month, both in the freezer and in dry goods. Um, Thankful they're so close. Um, and this is just, some of the reasons that I went over with why we chose to do an LLC. Founded this space in Dundee. We had looked for about a year and a half for a space. We always knew we wanted to be, west of 72nd. We wanted to be close to Dodge. Found so many different places. Then this place opened up. It had been a furniture place, and so we had to do nothing. Other than we had to put in plumbing for the produce deck. We've got a misting produce deck, so we had to put in a drain for that, and then a 3 compartment sink. But that's really, oh, and electric. We needed a lot of electric, of course, for the refrigerators and freezers. But this is what it looked like when we took it over. We wanted this space in particular because it's highly visible. It's a very walkable community. We've got neighborhoods on all four sides of us. We're located in between, and Creighton, and I think that really helps. We do have a lot of 20-something-year-old shopping, which is fun. Um, Education, we did just start that. And then we're going to be partnering with Metro. They're coming down on Tuesday. They actually want to sell some of their horticulture from their gardens, as well as they're interested in doing grab and go meals through their culinary department. Gordon is a born educator. He wants to teach farmers how to plant asparagus this year. Um, he just he I can't say enough good things about Gordon. He so knowledgeable with farming for 40 years, and he wants to pass that knowledge on. There's nothing he won't, like if you have a question, if he doesn't know the question, he will research it for you. And he's done the research. He's in the store Fridays and Saturdays for any farmers that ever want to, just pop in and get FaceTime with him. But on those days, a lot of the times he's actually researching different ways to grow, and he's great. We live in a very family kid neighborhood, so we want to do some activities for them. We are brainstorming this Sunday just to get that up and going. Midterm vision, CSA, we know we can help farmers out with a CSA. I could do a CSA after doing it, 550 boxes for a year, and then smaller quantities before that. I could do it in my sleep. It's, but it's such a great way to get farmers to sell a bunch of produce at one time. And it's just being able to aggregate like that, we can help smaller farmers too. And that's Gordon was key in No More Empty Pots' vision back during COVID because he would step in on Wednesday night and be like, okay, we've got, 75 tomatoes from this farmer, 100 from this, and 300 from this, but we just need 75 more tomatoes. Can you bring 75 tomatoes along with your 550 cantaloupes? And be like, absolutely. He'd meet me at 8 o'clock on Thursday morning. He would go out and pick Wednesday night. He loved the mission of what we were doing. So the CSA program, we would like to partner with some nonprofits and get CSA into the hands of people who really need food. We're very advocate. It's just so important for everyone to have equal food access. So that's part of our midterm vision here. That I don't know if we'll get the CSA programming up this summer, but we would like to this fall. Yeah, there we go. Affordable CSA options. Using SNAP and Double Up Food Bucks, it makes it very affordable. Community partnerships with schools. I've already talked at two different schools. We would like to get into rural schools as well. Well, they really need, I think people are familiar with this grant that's happening, but they need kitchens that can handle the processing of a lot of this food. But I do think like we could partner with No More Empty Pots and get some of the food processed at least minimally so that the schools can use it a little bit easier. Um, yeah, healthier families, stronger farms, it's equitable food system. On the horizon, like I said, we would like a cafe with seating. If we do need to have an extra bathroom, we will probably look in Dundee for a very small place, just so we can show more people how they can cook seasonally, and how good food is, using fresh, from the ground. We do have a commercial kitchen. We are going to do classes using the kitchen. We're just going to use induction burners because we couldn't afford a hood. But we've got some talented chefs that actually are willing to come in and do some demonstrations. Yeah, with that cafe, farm fresh menu, again, a community hub. I feel like we've started the community hub, but if we had tables where people could, sit at a regular do their work, meet with their friends. We would love to see that too somewhere. Argus actually has very similar. They opened up, and through COVID, they grew so fast that they actually bought a building two doors down for their cafe. This is what we look like now. On the left, along the sidewall, we sell a lot of local bread, a lot of local bread. Then we've got just uh, artisan. There's some pottery there in the back. We've got a lot of candles, a lot of things with goat milk, soaps, that type of thing. We just got shipment of flowers, not a shipment, but that was two deliveries, two different farms. One's an urban farm. And while they were there, someone bought their flowers, and it's so fun to see those farmers who never sold anything to see people buy their flowers while they're still there. It's just it's fun. I can't, like, it's just so much fun. Like, I don't feel like work is work going to this store every day. I just enjoy it so much. On the right, that is our produce deck. And we just got misters for that. So super excited for that. We're going to need it. Well, we needed it for the rhubarb and a lot of the greens. We used to have to bag all of the greens. So excited not to have to bag everything. Um, Big egg cooler, we've got four distributors, and we sell an unbelievable amount of eggs. You'll see Eric's enchiladas there in that first grab and go. Their salsas, it's crazy how much we've sold. We've got a lot of dairy. We've got two full freezers of meat there on the left, as well as two of one of the um, lower freezers is all meat, some of the larger cuts of meat. And then we've got ice cream and not really grab and go, but a lot of Conscious Comforts, Bella bread, some gluten-free bread there. And then we've got two shelves. And when I say we're growing, there on the left, we've got room for another rack of these black shelvings. When we first started, it's just grown so much. I mean, we started, I think, with 48 consigners, and we're up to over 100. Um, so the shelves are just starting to fill out, which is fun. Okay, that's the life of me. Like, it's it's fun. Like, we cross train everyone, and inputting new vendors into the register. My daughter is just now learning marketing. She's done our social media since we opened, done a phenomenal job. But now she's taking on the newsletter. She met with our branding gal. We're just trying to save money so that we can continue to grow. Um, but yeah, everyone's cross-trained. Everyone's going to know how to pour a cup of coffee. We're going to start coffee service next week. I have another daughter that actually was a barista for a couple years during college, so she's going to get us started next week. She's a nurse on the weekends. But she wanted to be a part, and I'm like, take over the coffee. So that's about it. I don't know. Does anyone have any questions?